Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho. Today is Tuesday, June 2nd, 8:40 p.m. Time for some best ball drafts. We're going to be hopping into some puppies tonight. And apologies for a 1 minute delay. I had to grind some wheat. So I hope you have something to smoke with me on the other side. I hope you can join me. Let's go. Okay, we're on Underdog, and we're going to be hopping into the puppy. Very excited for this contest. $1 million in total prizes, 225,000 entrants. You can max this with 150, and I'm not sure how many I'm going to do, but typically I do at least 40 to 50 of the puppies. Maybe one of these I'm going to go way overboard, but typically that's what I do. Around 40 puppies is usually what I do. So that's what we're going to do tonight. First prize gets 100,000. If we finish top 10, we're still taking home 10K minimum, and we have a lot of opportunities to get that done. So 2 out of 12 will advance out of the pod we're drafting tonight. Then we enter week 15, where the first place finisher in a 10-person group will advance to week 16, where it's only 1 out of 5. That's pretty sweet. The final has 750 people. That is still quite a lot. There's a lot weighing on week 17, but 750 people out of 225,000, it is achievable to make the final in this contest. That 1 out of 5 is quite nice, but if you get there, we want to finish top 10, and we are shooting for supreme upside. So keep that in mind. And a reminder, if you're new, if you would like some bonus funds, if you're interested in signing up for Underdog, you can use my code BLUNT. The link is in the description, and you will get a sweet deposit match, 50% up to $1,000 as soon as you join. On top of this deal, play your first 5, so enter one puppy, you get an extra $50 free. So that's one puppy, 10 on me, and I hope you can capitalize on this deal. And a reminder, if you still haven't done so, the Puppy 2 challenge closes in about 15 minutes. So get them in while you can. Play 4, get 1 free. You might have to enter 4 slows if you're only coming to that realization right now. But all right, that's going to be it for the promo. We're going to hop in. Going to give you a little 5-second countdown. They've been insta-filling lately. They've been filling very, very quickly. So I'm going to hop into the puppy in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Given the delay, that extra 10 seconds might throw people off. I want to give everyone a fair chance. So we'll do 5 seconds. This one filled rather quickly. And let me hop in with the chat. Let's go, Danimal. How we doing? And Hartman, becoming a member. Appreciate you joining the Blunt rotation, homie. What's up? We got the joint emoji popping. Beautiful, son. Really appreciate that, Hartman. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. And again, shocker, I get pick 7 right in the middle. I'm always right in the middle. Man, it's starting to get annoying. It would be nice to have that trip. Remember when we were drafting? I don't think it was in Best Ball Mania. I don't think it was Sunday. Maybe it did happen Sunday. I feel like on Sunday we got pick 11 every time in BBM. But I would love anything but pick 7 and 8 right now. But let's run through the gauntlet. We got the extra point FF on the clock at the 101. Not sure if you're watching, but John Tara, definitely recognize you. Thank you for joining us today in at pick 2. Tiffany, I think I recognize you. Not totally sure. Think so. Niners fan, I believe that's Chad. Welcome in at pick 4. FK Coolers in the house. Rocking a yellow badge, Coolers, and the goat horns. Flexing on everyone. Definitely some heavy hitters in this one. But Kungo-san right next to me at the 106. I'm at the 7. Young Moolah, GAB for life, pulled the 108. Thanks for hopping in, homie. And then Forey Wayne, also with some goat horns at the 109. Baller Bear at 10. And then, not sure I recognize Zwend KOS or Baller Bear, but I do know Danimal is in at 12. I am on the clock. Time to get different, I suppose. I've noticed I was a little underweight on Genty, and my discussions with Who, I was starting to come around on it. Definitely saw my exposures and wanted more of him. But after talking to Who, I definitely think I can grab Genty anywhere in the first. Honestly, I think you can even take him instead of Puka. I think that's as high as I'm willing to go on Genty. But pick 5, I think, is valid for Genty. So anywhere there, um, he should have a major improvement. And similar to my bet on Hampton, maybe Hampton will improve more, but there's even less competition for Genty, and he can also really deliver in the passing game. So a sneaky stacking partner, and I also really like his Cardinals matchup, Week 17. That's a nice one. So getting different. I'm so bored of clicking the same players over and over, and I've shown you guys multiple times my exposure rate on these picks, whether I'm, you know, where I am in the top 12 in round one. I am at 7 and 8, disproportionately so, like almost an extra 50% above expected in terms of those two picks. So uh, I've been getting tired of it. I need to mix it up, and we're going to go Genty today. You might see me drafting Genty quite more often in the near future. I feel like Genty's definitely uh, a more coveted option in my eyes, moving up my ranks in the first round. So after I take Genty, we see Lamb, Taylor, Amon-Ra Jefferson, AJ Brown goes pick 17. That's interesting. But circling back, we could go either Ken Walker or Chase Brown. I have a lot more Ken Walker than Chase Brown. So that's what I'm going to do. Walker goes slightly above. So maybe it's just a little bit more often those two are paired together. But both are perfectly fine. Both are good picks. Walker against the Chargers. I have a shit ton of that matchup. I have so many Chiefs right now. Not because I really want to. Part of me is happy about it. They're a good team. Definitely ceiling outcomes for the Chiefs are really, really good. But I've definitely started taking them a lot more recently because the schedule came out, and I was already hammering the Chargers, and they play each other week 17. So by the nature of that matchup, I got to get tickets to this game at this point. I have so many fucking bringbacks for that game. Let's mix it up. Let's do a little bit different on this one. But yeah, Chad, I agree with you. I also hate the fourth spot, and I guess Puka is like the clear pick there. But honestly, there's a world where I'm gonna be upset that I didn't just pull up a running back. I want to take a running back at pick 4 so many times when I'm there. Once Chase is off the board, it's like the way running back goes in round 2. Like, yes, I'm losing value on Puka to the next receiver, but CMC and Genty versus Jeremiah Love could be an even bigger gap potentially. Potentially. Um, I think I'm still just going to stick with ADP because then I just wouldn't have any Puka. But I will say pick 4, pick 5 seem like the two most difficult spots as you maneuver through the draft, just because of the nature of the running back position. You can get burned, and you also have to take some stances over the course of the draft. There are some weird pockets. If you don't double tap the running back position in the 4th and 5th round, or at least the 5th, at least take one in the 5th, it can be very tricky because sometimes you just don't get fallers the rest of the way. I don't need running back here. Definitely not my prerogative. Neighbor's already off, so is Rashi Rice. So the question is, do I take Trey McBride for the Genty bring back? I really don't have much McBride. I don't love taking McBride. I'm just going to take Devontae Smith. I'm just going to go receiver. Maybe a little boring, but safe play, and we all know it's official. A.J. Brown is a New England Patriot, so Devontae Smith locked into the number 1 role. And, this year, you got to ask yourself, who do you think can be this year's JSN? Who can actually deliver a top 5 season going in the 3rd round at receiver? Devontae Smith has won a Heisman. Devontae Smith is, never been fully unleashed, if you really think about it. At least since A.J. Brown's been there, he's been held back in theory, uh, in terms of target share. So I don't expect Mekhi Lemon to just dominate year one. Goddard having to fight with Stowers right now. And the Eagles' offense typically is one that crushes. So we'll go Devontae Smith today. Nothing wrong with that. Getting a receiver when we started 2 running backs. A fair click. And some of the receivers left on the board arguably aren't really worth a 3rd-round pick. I have a lot of T. Higgins. I've seen him in the 4th a bunch of times. Not dying to pull up Zay Flowers all of the time. He's now like officially a 3rd-round pick. And then there are some other guys that get yanked up to the 3rd. But otherwise, it's just Josh Allen or Trey McBride there. And the elite onesie in the 3rd is tough. It can be tough. But been seeing Egbuka rise lately. And although he might get Trent McDuffie in the final week, Myles Garrett isn't going to stop him, at least, unless he sacks Baker like crazy. But that game, more likely than not, has some shootout potential. So we'll go Egbuka, and he's been often in the 3rd round. Putt Daddy, what up? How we doing? I just pivoted to the live chat. I don't know if you're watching on YouTube and you've ever adjusted your settings on the chat. There are 2 options. There's top chat, which is the default, and it filters some of the messages. Or there's the live chat. I recently just pivoted to the live chat, so I am just now seeing your message, Putt Daddy. I have no idea why it was hidden. So sorry for not seeing that, but thanks for coming in. First Down Fantasy says, hit the flag stick from about 120 yards out, and my ball hit it so hard it bounced like 30 feet off the green. Sometimes golf just makes you laugh. Yeah, here's the thing. When you hit the flag, you want to hit the cloth as opposed to the pin. Have you ever hit the actual flag cloth on a shot? Like once I had one that was rocking past the green. It was going to be sailing over the hole, and miraculously it hit the flag, like the literal flag. Like if my arm is the pole and this is the flag waving, the ball goes right into the flag, and it just acts as like a little cushion, and the ball just like fell like a foot from the hole. It was perfect. It was perfect. Couldn't have drew it up any better. I'm going to go Carnell Tate here. Really starting to buy in. It's been a while since we've spent this cheap of a draft pick on such an elite NFL draft pick, especially at receiver. Like Tedero McMillan is still coasting off of his 8th overall pick status last year. Meanwhile, Carnell Tate is slipping into the 6th quite often alongside Jordan Tyson. Carnell Tate was drafted 4th overall. And I know this draft class was a little lackluster. The landing spots were never exciting, but I don't want to be sleeping on Carnell Tate paired with Cam Ward, a guy that can throw for over 4,000 yards. He did it at Miami in college 2 years ago. Good luck on the drafts tonight. Thank you, Mr. Acevedo. Good luck to you as well, whether you're drafting, whatever you're doing, or maybe just driving home. Get home safe. Good luck to you as well. Good luck to everyone, but especially Acevedo. Flyfish, don't think it's wise fading wide receiver 1 on this super team LA Rams is assembling. If you replace that thought with pick 5 and JSN, I'm totally on board. Fading Puka on this stacked Rams team. Yeah, I think I'm not going to do it at pick 4 because I think Puka can definitely bury me in a way that JSN probably can't. I think odds are probably wouldn't happen. I'm tempted to go Jordan Tyson, but I think I'm just going to take Jalen Hurts. I think I'm just going to get the stack with Devontae. Grab him here. I've seen him fall to 79, but we're drafting with some sharps. I don't think Coolers will let him slip to me at 77 if he's there. Maybe he passes at 68, but I don't think he'll pass at 77. So Even unstacked, I don't think I want to give 6 teams 2 cracks at Jalen Hurts. I'll just take him with Devontae Smith. Plus, by removing Jalen Hurts from the equation, maybe somebody isn't like inclined to grab Makai Lemon alongside Jalen Hurts. Like that stack looming on the board is definitely something that people just take when they don't know what else to do. So they see the Philly quarterback, wide receiver, whether they like Makai Lemon or Jalen Hurts. It's like, okay, this is easy. This is just like knock it out of the park. Let's get it done. Let's remove that from the equation. And who knows, maybe Makai Lemon will be slept on around this turn. Maybe he falls to me at 79, and we get a Hurts double stack with Devontae and Makai. So Schmitty and Lemon could be fun, but Igbuka, Carnell Tate, double Ohio State wide receiver. I'm fine with that. Definitely a simple way to look at it with a very stable track record. I will trust that. But running back, starting Ashton Jeanty, Chase Brown. Obviously, you can do that, taking Jeanty at pick 11, pick 12, pick 10. Definitely not the only one to have that, but maybe the only one to have this combination. Probably not. Probably not. Jaden Reed gets pulled up to 73. Don't hate it from the team at the 101. You know, one of my mantras, maybe I don't say it often enough, but I'm pretty sure I say it quite often, especially for the bookends. You got to take the best player that you believe is available for your team based on who you believe will not make it back. The player you want the most that will not make it back to your next pick is who I think you should take most of the time. I do not get Makai, but I'm invested in the Titans. I'm going to go Tony Pollard. Not a big fan of Chuba. Think he can fall past Rico Dowdle into the 8th or at least the 90s. Yeah, probably the 90s, I think, is where I'm a little more inclined to take Chuba, but I'm still just a true believer in Jonathan Brooks ultimately, and more so just fading Chuba with my Trevor Etienne shares as well. But Pollard with Carnell Tate, setting up a Cam Ward stack, and thankfully the bye week will be different. The Eagles are in week 10, the Titans are week 9. So if I really want, I mean, I've made the argument with some of these draft picks that the Titans are just going to be that much better this season. Maybe they're all just major values, and maybe I can talk myself into a 2 QB build with just Jalen Hurts and Cam Ward. Potentially, that could be all I need. But typically, I'm going 3 QBs. Probably going to do that. But even if I don't, it's pretty obvious. I will take Cam Ward if available. What's up, OM Godlike? How we doing? Best Ball Cabal says 6 team so far. Yes, I'm chilling with it. There's definitely ways to flush it down the toilet. It's not done, but we're 7 rounds in, nearing the halfway point, and I think it's not bad. We're over a third of the way through, coming up on the 40% mark. Half my drafts are the Eagles Niners bring back now. Yeah, there's typically some matchups that we all, if we're thinking about week 17, lean into and start to just hammer over and over again. It seems like that's quite often the case. I'm sure a lot of the Eagles fans are setting up a lot of Niners Eagles teams. And maybe I should take a Niner on this one. Maybe I should. Maybe the CMC drafter, Kungo-san, should have set up a Niners Eagles bring back himself. But I guess if I want it, I would have to take it now. I don't really want it. I'm not going to take Brock Purdy. I've been taking more Mahomes. There is no bring back, however. So structurally, is that the best decision, or should I just take the best receiver who I think is available? Yeah, I'm just going to do that. We're going to trust Jalen Hurts and maybe stick with that Cam Ward decision. But Mahomes goes immediately after to the Walker drafter. Not going to make it back to the Rashi drafter. Coolers probably doesn't care. He's got Jaden Daniels already, so not the end of the world. If y'all are enjoying the stream, looks like we got 44 watchers, 12 likes. Would really appreciate if you're inclined to hit that like button. We will be drafting a second puppy for sure, but if we crack 35 likes tonight, we will draft a fourth. Lock it in. A third draft. Lock it in. A fourth draft will be a little more expensive on the like count. 35 for a third, though. We'll do that. Second draft, though, we're going to happen to another puppy. I'll probably be ripping puppies most of the time, as long as the contest is open. It's the most appealing for the sake of the draft. It's got the elite payout up top, 100K, paired with the reasonable buy-in of $5. Tried to push Caleb and got punished. Yeah, Caleb is a tough one because there's always a bunch of teams that have the stack available, and the DeAndre Swift drafter, yeah, can definitely talk themselves into it. You had Burden and Rome. The Loveland drafter passed at the bookend on the other side. I get the logic. The Tyson fall was definitely appealing, but pick 78 doesn't happen too often, and there was another Bears stack on that side. He didn't even wait until 76. Niners fan Chad said, nope, not today. Do you think Burden going before Rome is recency bias? Yeah, I think it's a little weighted towards last season's Week 17 outcome. I think if Rome had been healthy Week 17 and crushed, I don't think it would happen. I don't think the ADP would be in this order. I think Rome would probably be going ahead of him. Burden had so many inconsistent games. I don't really understand why there's a massive gap between the two. Like a full round between the two is kind of weird to me. But Michael Wilson still available. I don't really want him. I'm definitely setting up that Titans matchup. So I'm gonna go Michael Pittman. They play each other week 17. I think Michael Pittman's a pretty reliable floor play selection at wideout. There was some good names on the board. Michael Wilson goes immediately after. You can have him, Young Moolah. I'm still weary of Arizona. Maybe against Genty, that bring back would have been worth it, but I'm more willing to talk myself into Michael Pittman, honestly. I think there's a world Pittman can be better than DK Metcalf. I was scrolling TikTok, and sometimes one of the channels they recommend is like news this week at training camp. And I don't know how much stock I put into this, just random like TikTok thing, but it was claiming that at practice, Michael Pittman was looking a little bit more explosive and more heavily targeted, more of a wide receiver one than Metcalf. I want to wait. I'm not going to believe that, but it is something I saw. And at the very least, I think for the value, Michael Pittman is a pretty legit click in the Mike McCarthy offense. I like it, but 3 clicks left. We'll see what is available to me. I could go Baker. I have Igbuka. However, the running backs here are a little appealing. We'll see what Young Moolah does. Gainwell is taken. Young Moolah only has Bishal Toot and Blake Corum so far. Pretty loaded wideout room, especially with the Michael Wilson. Goes Jonathan Brooks. I would have definitely taken Jonathan Brooks. I think I will take Baker on this team. I think so. I don't have a tight end yet, but not really worried about it. I'll just take Baker, and maybe somebody snipes me on Cam Ward at one point. Where's the Wandale drafter? Right in the bookend. Danimal could definitely take it from me. He took Diggs here at 109. Danimal is willing to do whatever it takes. So I'm fine with that. Who knows? I'm probably not going to reach on Cam Ward at 127, but I'll probably end up taking him at 138 if available. And if I don't get him, I don't get him. At least I got the stack with Baker and Igbuka. First down fantasy, drafted a puppy at work today and got a JT CMC team. Talk about you. Damn. What pick did you have? I mean, I would really like to be in a lobby that has JT falling. I'm usually one of the people that pushes him down the board. I'm usually one of the people passing on him right at ADP. Him and CMC picks 6 and 7. I'll take CMC a little bit more often than JT, but I also like to get different. Today, we went with Genty. Rome played 12 games and had 90 targets compared to Moore 17 games, 85 targets, and Burden 17 games and 60 targets. I mean, Rome was actually drafted with a top 10 overall pick. You know, there's a pretty clear plan for Rome. But you're also saying with Moore now gone, Rome is set up to be wide receiver 1 with 120 plus targets. If I'm going to have more of one in Chicago, I would rather have more Rome. But I do also understand the argument that Luther Burden's skill set and his role on the team is still going to be hyper valuable. I think they're both fine clicks. I'd prefer if the order was flipped. I think Loveland should go first because at tight end there is an advantage positionally, and then I think Rome should go, Burden, and then Swift should all go very close together. Trophy. I remember when the DK Millie was $5 for 1 million. Love that. I Let me know in the chat. Do you think I should enter the DK contest on the stream? Do you think we should expand into the DraftKings streets? But what's your take on Hurts without Brown? Seems like he's definitely going to take a hit, but by how much? I am on the clock. Let me get back to my pick. Running back did dry up, but I'm kind of okay with it. I'm just going to take him here. I'm just going to go Goddard for the stack because in the next round, even if he's on the board, I don't really want to have a tricky decision on my selection. I need a tight end for sure. It does stack up. Maybe we take Stowers later, but at least right now, I trust in Goddard. Malik Willis off the board to Team 10. And I'm a little worried that Danimal is not going to let me have what I would like because he has Wandale. But even if he doesn't, that's why I took Baker. And I'm totally fine having 3 quarterbacks if that's what it means. So, all chill. The take on Hurts without Brand seems like he's definitely going to take a hit, but by how much? Yeah, the question is how much he still runs the ball. But no doubt he will take a bit of a hit. He can still put up 35, 40 points in a given week. Like the argument for Hurts winning you the week is his rushing touchdowns, and that's not going to change. The tush push was not banned. Maybe he doesn't want to run as much in theory, but I wouldn't overthink it too much. I still view him as like a clear top 10 quarterback every week, and most of the time he will be ranked top 5. Can definitely be the guy you need in the right week, and especially with the Niners matchup week 17, that game feels pretty appealing, and with no Robert Saleh, I don't trust the Eagles defense anywhere near as much. So I like that rivalry game. Eagles definitely care about that type of matchup, and all of the factors considered, playoff schedule, money week schedule, and just his rushing value, I'm still fine with Jalen Hurts in round 6. If he's ever available in the 7th, I'm still scooping him up. But I think the price on him right now is kind of like factoring in that A.J. Brown departed. Like, if A.J. Brown was still locked in and everything was copacetic, Hurts would probably be going much closer to Lamar, and probably never falling into the 7th. He might even go above Lamar Jackson. There's a world where, you know, he'd be the QB2 if all of that was still the case. So I'm fine with it. Now, if you want to argue for Drake May, Jaden Daniels above him, that's fine. But for the team I was building, risking Hurts to circle back was, you know, a pretty unreliable gamble, if you ask me. So I think he's a very good click. I don't think he should fall very much If he's ever in the seventh, and sometimes I've taken him at pick 80, pick 81 before, pick 79. It happens sometimes, but it still feels like a big discount, and other people fucked up. I Schweddy. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Any reason why Hampton going before Brown? I don't get it, honestly. Imagine Hampton as Devon Achan, in the Mike McDaniel system. Just think about the Mike McDaniel running back, whether it's Devon Achan or even Raheem Mostert. That's, I think, what you should think about. But the Chase Brown argument, I think, is slept on as well. I think Chase Brown definitely has an argument that he could be a top 5 back, especially in a full PPR league. But this is a half PPR format, so touchdowns are a little more critical. It's not that Chase Brown can't outscore Hampton. I just think the overall bet on the first round talent, the 220 pound 4'4", 40 type of guy, it's not bad. I'm on the clock. Can't go quarterback, so I'll queue up Jawan Jennings. Kind of want to go running back, honestly, but doesn't feel ideal. I'm going to go with Jawan at 151. Slightly past ADP, just 3 picks, nothing special, but getting back in at receiver, not going to be upset with that. He is a talented guy on a valuable team, good offense, good quarterback, crowded a little bit above him, but he could also throw us a house call touchdown. He could throw a 50-yard bomb to Jordan Addison or Justin Jefferson when you least expect it. He's got that quarterback skill set in his bag. There's an extra cherry on top. If you won with Juwan Jennings and he had a 60-yard bomb for a TD week 17, that'd be fucking lit. And against the Jets, they could pile it on. They could try to embarrass him. But definitely possible. But Hampton is just a first round talent on an elite offense. The Mike McDaniel running back is going to be valuable behind an improved offensive line, definitely better than the Bengals. And then there's also the scenario with Chase Brown where Joe Burrow gets hurt again. That has happened multiple times, and Chase Brown's been dog shit. He was still really good, though, even with Joe Flacco last season. So I wouldn't be fading Chase Brown. It's kind of about time he rose back up in the ranks, but shit. I think I'm just going to take Tank Bigsby, honestly. I need to get back in at running back. Definitely one of my guys. So pick 162. I don't think he makes it back to me at 175, to be honest. There's some friends and family in this draft, especially Kungo-san. I could easily see Kungo-san take Bigsby at 174. But I'm fairly happy with the team. I think it's coming together. Tight end is still a position of need, but there's still plenty of time. 4 clicks left. Nothing wrong with that. The 1-2, number 12. I pretty much do DK only now. I suppose with a $3 million up top, a little bit more enticing. But Danimal could not afford him, said he was all mine. Appreciate that. Might have spent a little too much at quarterback, but having 3 is never a problem. I mean, look at Coolers, who has the goat horns and then the most experience of anyone based on the draft, based on the badge. Took 3 QBs by Kyler. And other than the Scadaboo pick, all of them were unstacked up to that point. What's up, P-Punch? How we doing? I think everyone is sleeping on Wicks, says 2 mules in a cart. Wish they would wake up so I wouldn't be forced to take so much. If anything happens to Smith's lanky frame, Wicks could be a league winner. I could see him have some sneaky upside, especially with Hurts throwing those go routes, those deep bombs. He never throws in the middle of the field. maybe Wicks has a good complementary skill set, perhaps. But would have loved Sean Tucker. Don't think he's available. So, no. Um, yep. Gonna take him. I'm a little overloaded on Trey Harris. I have 27% Trey Harris right now, but just heard Huhaim say he's bumped him up to the 160s in his personal ranks, and I'm definitely pro Trey Harris. The Chargers offense going to be lit. So we get QJ and Trey Harris on this team, unstacked for once, but 2 clicks I've been hammering. And maybe I'm just biased, but those Chargers are just so valuable. They're all so valuable. Legitimately, like every single one has such a good ADP when you really consider the true upside nature of the picks. But what second on the countdown should I click to get into a draft? If I'm counting down from 10, I think you should hop in when I hit 7. But I've noticed how I've clicked the button and it's been insta-filled. So I'm starting to, at least earlier today, I only gave y'all a 5-second countdown. The 5-second means right when I start counting, just fucking do it. That's kind of what it means. At this point, it's been tough. I've noticed how much more quickly they've filled the last week or so. I think Hurts profits from the loss of Brown. He wasn't getting open. That's why he wasn't getting targets. The vibe was really, really bad. You know, the vibe was really brutal in the building. So I could see a scenario where, 3 clicks left. I kind of want to go Ted Hurst, honestly, but I think I'm going to take Kate Otten instead. I think Kate Otten's value this late is definitely a nice little saving grace. Might be a bummer in the touchdown department, but from a volume standpoint, really safe production at tight end. Good floor play. Not much to worry about. And does offer the stack. Definitely correlates quite nicely. I could imagine, but there isn't another Achane. Oh, just wait. Just you wait on Hampton. The potential for Hampton, he doesn't have the exact same skill set. Obviously can't run a 4.3, but potentially more capable of a workhorse role than Achane was. Potentially. Potentially the next LaDainian Tomlinson. What up, drafters? Nice. What's up, Goofy Chicken? How you doing? If anyone hasn't done so already, check out Goofy Chicken Fantasy here on YouTube and on Twitter. A phenomenal subscription, definitely worth your time, and a very fun, good time in the space. A great presence. Thank you for joining us this evening, Goofy. How you doing? Hope you're going to bed soon, honestly. You're on the East Coast there. I know you're a virtual teacher, and you might have to get up early, so it's past midnight. It's probably past your bedtime, Goofy. But thanks for hopping in. Sustainable Construction says Chase Brown rushing for 20 touchdowns and Burrow throwing for 45. I wouldn't say he runs for 20. Maybe a combined 20 isn't impossible. I could see like a 12 rushing touchdown, 8 receiving touchdown in like a truly best case scenario for Chase Brown. But I don't think I would expect 20 rushing touchdowns out of Chase Brown. Make sure you're watching in real time, and then 9-11 seconds before works well. Yeah, make sure you're watching live. That's for sure. Anthony, sup, bro? Happy I was able to get in the draft with you and Jiri. Yeah. Were you in that one too? Yeah, Spurs G was definitely in that one. Yeah, that one was a fun draft earlier. And Huhames as well. Valid, Hampton, safer. Yeah, when you really factor in the potential of a round 1 pick in a generational draft class, it's a little bit more tempting. I would have liked Stowers, but Kungo-san does not let me have him. Not today. In that case, I'll go David Njoku. We got the double week 10. Oh, I didn't even realize I had the double week 10 at quarterback. So yeah, the Cam Ward selection was even better, even more justified. But Goddard, Auden, and Joku. My receiver room has Devontae Smith, Egbuka, Cardinal Tate, QJ, Pittman, Jawan Jennings, and Trey Harris. Honestly, I'm willing to stop at 5. My running back room is Genty, Chase Brown, Tony Pollard, and Tank Bigsby. Would have taken Stowers for sure had I gotten him, but we do not. So it's down to running back here, and we'll see what's in store. But the team is, anytime you go 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends, it's a little bit risky. Sometimes I prefer to do it when the QB1 is, taken where I took Baker in theory. Like, imagine if I had, you know, instead of taking Hurts in round 6, I took a quarterback in round 9 as my QB1 instead of Michael Pittman. A receiver instead of Hurts. Maybe Jordan Tyson and then a Tyler Shuck selection instead of Pittman. Might have been the move there. Another way to go about it with 3 QBs. But we got the Eagles combo. Nothing wrong, but nothing wrong with that. And I'm willing to just push the 7 receivers, 5 running back build. Katron could work here. Will Young Moolah snipe me? No. But Katron is not the bring back option. Let's go Jordan James. Let's assume that CMC is not available week 17 and his backup is Jordan James. I think at the moment, the front runner for that job, Jordan James, RB5, the fade on CMC. So let's recap the team. We started Genty at pick 7, then took Chase Brown at 18. Devontae Smith is stacked up with Hurts. I also have the Dallas Goedert stack, Tank Bigsby for what it's worth, and then I also have the Jordan James bring back week 17. But Egbuka, my wide receiver 2, he's stacked up with Baker. Also have Kate Otten for that Bucks combo. And then my third receiver, Cardinal Tate, is also stacked up. So all 3 of my top receivers are stacked. That feels nice. Cardinal Tate, especially in Tennessee, I think could crush. I think he's a good pick. I was willing to take him over DJ Moore. But Hurts with the stack I mentioned. Pollard also correlates in Tennessee. That's pretty fun. QJ, Michael Pittman need the depth. Baker, Dallas Goedert, Cam Ward, Jawan Jennings, Tank Bigsby, Trey Harris. We need these Chargers bets to hit. We need the bringbacks to all work out. But enough depth. The tight end room, a little bit basic, but Goddard can definitely have that 20, 25 point spike potential. And AJ Brown's gone. So Goddard, in theory, could be a riser, but a lot of people seem to be hyping up Stowers enough to keep him where he's at. But Danimal, not sure if you're referencing my team or yours. There's some upside here for sure. I don't think it's very mid, but pick 7, sometimes you don't get the best values, but I like it. I don't think there's anything really upsetting with the team. I don't think there's anything wrong with the team. Gotcha. Let me catch up with the chat. Speaking of, to know if Hampton can wipe Achan's ass. Keep sleeping on Hampton, brother. I love that the market is sleeping on Hampton. I will be so overweight on one of the best players this coming season. Chase Brown has been consistent, but nothing exciting. Hampton has a higher ceiling and a bit of an unknown product. Brown, 400-yard rushing games in 27 starts. You draft Chase Brown for his pass-catching role. In PPR, I think if he goes this late, it's a bit of a travesty. He should be going much higher in full PPR. That's for sure. What's up, Hulk Smash Potatoes? How you doing? Yeah, that was definitely a fun time, Anthony. Chad says, I would like to reiterate that the 4th pick is rough. We'll take a look at Chad's team as well. I'm going to go in order. Actually, no. We'll do it the regular way. We'll do it the regular way. Chad had Caleb and Brock Purdy. Brees Hall, DeAndre Swift, Chris Rodriguez, JCM, Emmett Johnson, Kamara. Not bad, but maybe not elite. I'm not always sold on Brees being worth a third round pick. Brees is not one of my favorite clicks. Depending on the team, I'm fine with it, but on other teams, I think he's actually a very tricky spot to be in. But Puka, London as the first two clicks, kind of behind the eight ball when you start double whiteout these days. Evans with the Purdy stack, Makai Lemon, Jalen Coker, Stribling, and Fields. Nothing bad, definitely good enough to stop at 7, and then the depth pieces definitely can pop high upside, but the studs in the lineup should carry you. Then Fannin at 93, good to see his price really falling these days. Dalton Kincaid and Gunnar Helm at 172. You're the one who sniped me on Gunnar Helm. I was a little more hopeful for Gunnar Helm, but he went above ADP. No wonder I couldn't find him. Pretty solid team. I mean, given the context, it would be nice to have a better stack with Caleb than just Swift, but the receiver room's fine. Running back can get it done. Good luck with JCM, Emmett Johnson, Kamara, but I think it's mostly just hinging on Brees. I think if Brees is a really good pick, you're in business. The tight end room is fine. Fannin could crush, could be bad, but receivers loaded up top, so should deliver. It's all going to hinge on Brees Hall. Not my favorite bet, but fine, given you started double whiteout. I think it's not too bad. But in 4 spot, just snag Puka or Chase. What's the issue? The 5 spot is what sucks. You have to take JSN. 5, definitely worse than pick 4. 7 through 9, kind of mid 2. Yes, but you can get really fun combos, and I think the way the board just shakes out for you over the course of the draft, I think it's a little easier to maneuver than a pick 5 or pick 4. 12 spot all day. 12 spot's pretty nice. I don't mind the 12 spot at all. 11's pretty good as well. I like 9 through 12. I don't mind it at all. Can go microwave some chicken nuggets between picks. Yeah. You get the time break. Appreciate it, Danimal. But there's some things about my team that could be. I think the running back room, it just better fucking hit with Genty and Chase Brown. The depth could be worthless if those starters don't get hurt. But contingent value, my team's not bad. 4 QBs in the 3 spot. Let's take a look at the 3 spot. Tiffany in here went Drake May, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, Mendoza. Just couldn't pass. Interesting. Wonder if any of those were autos, but probably not. Kyron, Montgomery, Kyle Monungai, Rashad White. Tricky to stop at 4 there. Definitely would have rather swapped out a QB with another running back. But Jamar Chase, Nico is really good. Waddle, Cortland Sutton. Doesn't have Bo Nix, so was he sniped? Where the fuck is Bo Nix? Nope, just passed on Bo Nix for Jacoby Myers after taking Waddle and Cortland Sutton. Just saying, fuck it. We're going to see, the backup instead of Bo Nix. That's a wild decision. Myers right at ADP. Not even a follower on Myers. Yeah, wild choice there by Tiffany. But Ted Hurst, Zachariah Branch, George Kittle, likely, and Jake Tonjes. Interesting team. Don't think I would have done it this way. I would have gone Drake May, Bo Nix, and probably just stopped there. And then had some better depth with 2 extra clicks. But, okay. Interesting. Receiver room is good, but feels a little wasted. And then tight end is fine. Running back, thin. Quarterback, over bloated. Too much money spent at QB. John Tara was in here at pick 2. Dak Prescott, Stafford. You can get away with that, but none of them run, so interesting. They are stacked up, though. Bijan Robinson, Travis, Dobbins, Mason, and Singleton. Not shabby at all. Not bad. Pickens, Terry, Adams, Alec Pierce, McMillan, Flournoy, Mooney, and Surratt. Pretty legit. well balanced. Ferguson stacked. Strange is available, and then Terrence Ferguson is stacked. Good trio, not a bad trio. Yeah, good stacks. Depth at running back with Bijan, Travis, bring back. All just a question of if quarterback is good enough. Only two quarterbacks, neither of them run, but the stacks should carry you. If you're right on the stacks, this team will deliver. Good job, Jantara. Pretty good team. I want to take a look at coolers though. We got Daniels, Dart, and Kyler, and like I mentioned, not a single stack with any of them except Cam Scattaboo. Um, Notable. Bucky Irving in the fifth, Ramondre in the sixth, Tyler Algier, Katron Allen, and we did mention this multiple times in the chat. Pick 5 is our least favorite. He did get JSN at pick 5 with Rashi, Casey Concepcion. I think he was sniped on Mahomes, but Concepcion the third, a little thin. Romeo Dobbs though at 125 is very very nice. Omar Cooper is the fifth, could pop, but good luck. Debo Samuel, Antonio Williams, Tank Dell. Pretty solid, but waiting after Rashi with the Concepcion Dobbs consolation could be a little better, but not bad. Not bad at all. And then Bowers, Fryermuth. Fryermuth is like one of my favorite clicks to pair with Bowers because you get to wait so late for someone going way too cheap, and you definitely don't need more than two. So definitely a nice tight end room. I mean, quarterback unstacked, but like elite, and they all run the ball. So I guess, yeah, who cares? I like all three of them quite a bit. And then running back, a little tricky, a little risky. Bucky is a tough pick at the moment, but the fall has been pretty notable. A risky team, but I see the logic, I see the path, and then there's also just like elite strengths looming, especially at quarterback. Like the quarterback room is phenomenal. Same with tight end. That's just kind of the nature of it. You're gonna have potentially a weakness somewhere else, and maybe it's just like deep end running back depth. But worth the risk. Really high upside. A fun team. A good team to draft at a pick 5 for sure. I got very few complaints. It's just kind of maybe player takes on like Ramondre and Algier. That's the only thing I can think of to complain about. But good team. Good team. Kungo-san right in front of me. Took Mahomes. He was a sniper. Tyler Shuck as well. Stopped at 2. CMC, Ken Walker, Aaron Jones, Mike Washington, and Zach Charbonnet. So very thin RB 4 and 5. Olave on this team. Luther Burden, Roma Dunze. Did not take the Caleb's pick. Went Tyson instead. Probably should have just taken Caleb. Probably should have just done that. DK Metcalf, Ricky Pearsall, Jalen Naylor, Trey Tucker. Very fun, very talented wide receiver room, though. Like, the receiver room is really good. Tight end, though, Okonkwo will deliver, but a lot hinging on him. Had to reach on him 10 picks. You felt the desperation, and then you did snipe me on Stowers, but needed the position. And then you also have Dulcich, final round. I'm not a believer in Stowers and Dulcich, so this tight end room is pretty weak by my standards, but the receiver room is really strong. I think if Tyson was Caleb, maybe you wouldn't have had Mahomes. That'd be my guess. Something would have been a little bit different. Probably should have just taken Caleb at 67. But not a bad team, in all honesty. Just not many stacks with Mahomes other than Walker. But that's not the end of the world. That's not the end of the world. You really think about it. All right, we got Young Moolah in the house as well. Want to take a peek. We got T-Law, Gino, and Brissett. I'm not taking Brisket. I've refused. But for the value, it is cheap. I know you like your cheap quarterbacks. Surprised Shador wasn't on this one, Young Moolah, but should be strong elsewhere because of the cheap prices. So Beischel, Tootin, Blake Corum, Jonathan Brooks. I really wished you'd left me Brooks, honestly, but given your running back room, a very wise click. Past ADP, got to scoop him up. Tyrone Tracy for the RB4. Jonah Coleman, Sean Tucker, and Marshawn Lloyd attacking it with volume. Definitely, I think a 7 running back build, but if Corum and Brooks really hit, you're living, and then Sean Tucker should be one of the steals. I know you have some faith in Marshawn Lloyd, but you pulled all these running backs up. Like all of them, other than Brooks, are above ADP. Lloyd at 185 is kind of bold. Sean Tucker, though, that's where he should be going. Coleman, though, at 137, I'm not doing that, but I guess when Dobbins gets hurt, Coleman definitely could deliver. And then, yeah, waited a while, definitely worth just getting your guys. But receiver room should be loaded. Let's take a look. We got CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson is the third, Parker Washington, and Michael Wilson at a nice pick 104. Definitely more palatable, but I also passed at 103. I was willing to give him up. Chris Dazzle as the sixth. Definitely, I think a fine room to stop at 6. And if Brazel is legit, then you're living. But Trey McBride also on this team. I forgot. You took McBride. You also have Kenyon Sadiq with the stack. And then the Garrett Wilson, Geno Smith combo. Very, very legit. The Parker Washington, Beischel Tootin. T-Law combo. And then Brissett with Wilson and McBride. I judged it too soon. Definitely worth your time. I just don't know if Brissett will actually play the full season, let alone be the starter week 1. His contract holdout is not very wise. I think they're going to call his bluff. I don't think anyone is willing to pay Brissett anything more than what he has. But otherwise, I'm not really sure if Forey Wayne, Baller Bear, or Zwendkos were watching. So if you are, sorry, but Danimal is the last team review. Let's take a look. We got Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold, and Tua. Lamar at 60. Man, what do we do? But not stacked up. Lamar there is unstacked. Wow, that's fucking... Who the hell had Flowers and passed on Lamar at 59? Team 11, the fuck are you doing? I really appreciate you calling their bluff and just grabbing Lamar. Thank you, Danimal. Draft integrity protector with the Lamar click. But Darnold and Tua, perfectly fine. James Cook, Saquon, Javonte, really strong running back room with Rico and Emmanuel Wilson. Totally definitely one of the best running backs rooms, more likely than not. We got Christian Watson, Chris Godwin, double Chris, Wan'Dale Robinson. I appreciate you not taking Cam Ward, but you mentioned didn't fit your build. Stephon Diggs, Khalil Shakir, Travis Hunter, and Cooper Kupp. A bit of a zero wide receiver. Watson is the first, and only 7. So you're trusting who you got. I hope Chris Godwin and Christian Watson stay healthy. That is a gamble. Let's be honest, a bit of a gamble, but should be fine. I'm praying for you. But Shakir, very, very useful. You pulled up Diggs at 109. Yeah, you felt the pressure big time. I think a wise decision. And then Travis Hunter, Cooper Kupp. Man, I sure hope Travis hits for you because that'll be fun. But Loveland, Juwan, and Barner. Ooh, okay. I think I would have opted against the third tight end if it were me. I think I would have gone receiver just to get another body in there. But none of them are like hyper appealing. Maybe take the gamble on Ayuk, but I get it. Barner stacked. Juwan is a good click there. None of the receivers are too appealing. Yeah, tough spot to be in. Structurally, I might have liked an 8th wideout though, given how late you waited. But the protection there, yeah, tough decision.